this planet might have life. The problem is, it shouldn't. This is the discovery that's leaving astronomers worldwide scratching their heads. K218b, a planet located 124 light-years from Earth, showed chemical signals that, here on Earth, only appear when life exists. But what seemed like one of the greatest achievements of modern science ended up raising an even bigger mystery. How is it possible that a planet with such extreme conditions shows such familiar signs? Are we looking at the first real hint of life beyond Earth? Or are we about to fall for one of the biggest scientific mistakes in history? In this video, you'll learn why K218b has become the center of attention, what exactly was found there, and why this could change, or confuse, everything we know about the universe. Get ready for a journey filled with curiosities, historical facts, and a question that might redefine how we see the cosmos. In April 2025, something very curious caught the attention of scientists around the world. The powerful James Webb Space Telescope detected strange signals coming from a planet called K218b, located 124 light-years from Earth. And what it found wasn't just anything. It picked up two chemical substances, DMS and DMDS, that here on Earth only appear when there's life. One interesting fact is that DMS is released by tiny organisms living in our oceans. So, seeing that same signal coming from such a distant planet raised a huge question. Did we just find the first real sign of life beyond Earth? The discovery caused a lot of excitement, and for good reason. This is one of those curiosities that could change everything we know about the universe. These compounds don't just show up for no reason. On Earth, they're directly linked to biological activity, which means if K218b has these same substances, maybe there's some form of life there too. And that's not just a strange coincidence. It's a possible sign we're not alone out there. Of course, no one's saying there's an alien waving at us. But finding something so specific and rare on such a faraway planet is, at the very least, a big mystery. And it reminds us that science is full of surprises. A single clue can become a chapter in history books, or just another piece of the puzzle. What matters is that now we have a real reason to pay attention to this planet. But hold on, just because we found something curious doesn't mean we have all the answers. We still can't say for sure if these signals really come from living things or if they're caused by some other natural process we don't understand yet. Even so, the fact that we found something so similar to Earth is already enough to keep digging. And the more scientists study K218b, the more they realize it's unlike any other planet we've seen. It's not just a place with strange signs. It's a piece that doesn't quite fit the universe's puzzle. And that's when things start to get even more interesting. K218b is a curious planet. It's called a sub-Neptune because of its size and makeup, but it's also referred to as a super-Earth because it sits in the habitable zone of its star, the region where temperatures could allow liquid water to exist. That alone is an interesting fact. After all, finding a planet outside our solar system that might have water and possibly life is a big deal. But what makes K218b even more special is that it seems to have an atmosphere rich in hydrogen, which makes it easier to detect chemical signals, or biosignatures, like the mysterious compounds recently found there. It's almost like the planet is unintentionally dropping hints to those watching from afar. But here's where things get even more intriguing. Even though K218b has features that suggest life could exist, it doesn't behave like the planets we know. It's very different from Earth in many ways. Its atmosphere is thick, its gravity is probably crushing, and it might be covered in deep oceans from end to end. This combination of traits creates a world that's both promising and strange. It's the kind of planet that breaks the usual rules scientists use to understand how planets work. And that raises a powerful curiosity. Can life really exist in places that don't fit our definition of normal? What's most curious is that, not long ago, scientists didn't even know planets like this existed. K218b is like that student who doesn't follow the rules but still has something special no one expected. It forces us to rethink what habitable really means. The truth is, the universe is full of mysteries, and this planet seems to be here just to remind us of that. When we look at it, we see something that mixes the familiar with the unknown. A place that seems to have all the right ingredients, yet still makes us scratch our heads. And that's where the big question begins. Could this planet actually support life? Or is there a hidden problem we haven't uncovered yet? As exciting as it is to find signals similar to those on Earth, the story of K218b starts to get stranger the closer you look. Scientists notice that the concentrations of DMS and DMDS on the planet are way higher than anything we see here. And that leads to an interesting fact. If those substances really are caused by life, it would have to be a form of life completely different from what we know. After all, not even the richest ecosystems on Earth produce these compounds at such extreme levels. It's curious how something that seems like a clue can suddenly turn into a big question mark. When something is that far outside the norm, it might mean there's a much bigger mystery hiding behind it, or maybe a new explanation we haven't figured out yet. Another strange thing is how K218b moves around its star. It's tidally locked, which means one side of the planet always faces the star, while the other side is stuck in permanent darkness. This creates two extreme environments. One side is blazing hot, and the other is freezing cold. Can you imagine that? One half burning, the other frozen, and maybe a thin area in between where something could possibly survive. It's a totally different setup from Earth. And even though the planet sits in the habitable zone, the reality might be far tougher than we first thought. That's what makes it so curious. How could life exist in a place like that? These extreme conditions bring up a tough question. Are the signals we found really signs of life, or are we misreading them? It could be that some unknown chemical process is happening over there, something we can't reproduce or fully understand yet. Or maybe, the data is simply showing us how easily our point of view can be fooled when we're looking at such a distant world. The truth is, the more scientists study K218b, the more it seems to play with what we think we know. And that alone makes it one of those mysteries that stick with you. But science works that way. Full of questions that push us, clues that confuse us, and discoveries that force us to look again. And speaking of looking again, the scientific community had plenty to say about this. When the first data about K218b was released, a lot of people got excited. But like with any big discovery, a wave of caution followed. The team behind the finding shared everything openly and made it clear that it was still too early to jump to conclusions. Scientists around the world reviewed the same data and began asking questions. An interesting fact is that in science, skepticism isn't a lack of belief. It's a tool to avoid mistakes. And when we're talking about a possible sign of life beyond Earth, that careful approach becomes even more important. After all, this is one of the biggest curiosities humanity has ever explored. Extraordinary discoveries require extraordinary proof. Some experts suggested that the detected signals might not be biological at all. In other words, the compounds found could be the result of chemical reactions that don't involve any life. Others pointed out that there could be errors in the way the telescope interpreted the spectra, those fingerprints used to figure out what's in a planet's atmosphere. It might sound simple, but reading those data is actually very tricky. A small mistake can lead to a huge misunderstanding. Mysteries like this are common in astronomy, which is why many scientists prefer to wait for stronger evidence before celebrating. They're not trying to kill hope. They just want to be sure it's built on something real. Even so, interest in K218b only grew. Even the skeptics agree that something curious is happening there. The planet has become a reference point in this new phase of space science. It reminds us that the universe is full of secrets, and answers don't always show up right away. Historical facts show that many important discoveries started with doubts, strange ideas, and even errors. Science moves forward exactly like that. Someone notices something odd, someone else questions it, another tests again, and bit by bit, the truth comes out. With K218b, that's exactly where we are. The signal is there. The mystery is alive. And now the whole world is waiting for the next piece of the puzzle. Maybe from the next generation of even more powerful telescopes already on the way. Even with so many unanswered questions, K218b has become a true symbol of a new era in the search for life beyond Earth. And that's no small thing. For centuries, humanity has looked up at the sky wondering if we were alone. Now, for the first time, we have a real planet with real signs, challenging us to find the truth. That's a historical fact. Even if everything is still a mystery, just getting this far is already amazing. The discovery has opened doors, sparked debates, and turned the world's attention back to space. K218b, with all its curiosities and problems, is now at the center of a new journey. And this might just be the beginning. And we're not just talking about theories or guesses. New telescopes are about to launch, and they promise to change the way we explore the universe. The Habitable Worlds Observatory and the giant Magellan Telescope, for example, are being built exactly for this, to scan the cosmos for signs of life. With even more sensitive technology, they'll be able to study planets like K218b in much greater detail. And that changes everything. It's like we've been trying to hear a conversation through a wall. And now we're finally going to open the door. The curiosity that got us here is about to get sharper eyes, better tools, and clearer answers. Researcher Nikumud Husudhan, one of the scientists behind the study of K218b, said something that stuck with a lot of people. Maybe this is the moment when the living universe finally came within reach. That's a powerful idea. Because even if the first signal came with questions and an unexpected problem, it also brought hope. K218b might not have all the answers, might not even host life, but it showed us the question is still worth asking. And if the universe really is full of mysteries, maybe this is just the first one ready to be revealed. Now the search has picked up speed, and what comes next might be even more surprising. So what do you think? Is K218b really a living planet? Or are we facing a major scientific mistake? What could these signals really mean? These questions are just the beginning of a journey that could forever change how we understand the universe. And you're right at the center of it all. Want to keep exploring these fascinating mysteries and discover the next chapters of this incredible story? Then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Here we dive deep into historical facts, mysteries, and curiosities that few dare to uncover. Share your thoughts below about K218b and which theory you think is most likely. Your opinion could be the topic of our next video.